We get to spend the last 15 minutes of the evening together. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. Hold on, let me see.
Hey, hi.
Hi, how y'all holding up? I learned this today in that 5 hour racial training that I was in. And they say one of the things that we're supposed to do when we like hear something heavy is it's like this 5 finger thing. And I'm going to invite you to do it with me before we discuss. And it's all about acknowledging that our lungs are here to help us breathe and recognize when something feels heavy. And it's really cute. So you take your finger and you put it on, let's start with the pinky finger. Okay. And when you have your finger on top, you're supposed to inhale in. And then as you go through the crevices, push it out. Bring it in again. And then you hold it here. And then you blow it out and you go down the mountain. Sniff again. Come on, sniff those boogers. Bring them all in. There you go. Get 'em at the top, and then you let it out. And you do that for all 5 fingers. Supposedly, it's supposed to be very calming to the nervous system. So they had us do that as we unpacked how we got here as a racially divided country. So y'all did it. And I don't know what my view looks like. I can see y'all. I don't know if y'all can see me. Am I still sharing my screen?
Hmm.
Yeah, we see you.
Yeah.
Y'all did it. You hugged a cactus. Yes? What a cactus. You hugged a cactus. One word, what did that feel like? For those of you guys saw it for the first time, one word, what did that feel like?
Wow.
Fair enough.
Awareness.
Fair enough. That's the number one antidote. Fair enough.
Disappointing.
Unpack that, Chris. What you mean, Christian?
The original ACEs study was in the 90s, yeah. We're 30 years on, and it's really frustrating that we're still good. Nadine Harris is like yourself and Karen Treisman, Nadine Harris, Mr. Mate. They're doing great work, but we're 30 years on, man. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Trauma-informed education should be policy all over the
Mhm.
world. That's frustrating, disappointing.
I'm with you. Thank you for sharing that. As an academic, I call myself, I guess, just trying to like keep
Mhm.
up with it. I felt cheated. I'm like, I got 100 and something thousand dollars in student loans, and I never heard about this a day in my educational career. I want my money back. I felt cheated personally and professionally. But then I was like, okay, let's flip the script. If this is a game of life that we're in, what should we do about it, right? I'm not gonna sit up here and shit on my parents. I'm not gonna do that. I mean, right? I'm gonna call a spade if I can say that. And hey, our parents didn't get it right. Some of our parents didn't get it right, and it's our turn, Christian. So yeah, I'm channeling that. Ooh, I was angry. And I didn't find Aces. Aces found me at a copy machine. That's how I learned. You're learning in the most responsible way that I can possibly present it. I learned it because somebody left the quiz on a copy machine plate.
Mm.
I picked that quiz up to move it off, and that's how I am here today with you right now. Had that copy machine, one piece of paper not been left on that copy machine in an office where there's 40 different employees, any other employee could have been there to pick that up. And it just so happened to have saved itself for me. So here we are. Thank you guys. You did it. Thank you for hugging that cactus and even recognizing, Christian, as you tell your story, we were probably those cactuses to people. Washaways, cannon fodder, deplorables, as somebody has famously called us. Right. So thank y'all. Is anybody else want to share maybe one word that's coming up for you? Any A's? Anybody who's learning about ACEs for the first time?
I
Love to
mean,
just
I've
check.
always heard about why certain things are the way they are. Like, systemically, if you had this kind of experience growing up, there's just certain things you can envision and certain things you're just disadvantaged on a very I guess, fundamental level. And I've heard a lot of that, but this is nonetheless is still a lot. I almost feel like I shouldn't. I
Say it.
almost feel like I shouldn't have too much of any opinion just because I didn't have this experience, and I feel like I shouldn't. Like, I don't know. I guess all I'm saying is I need to hear. I need to listen more than I really don't have much to say because others have so much more. Others just went through so much more. I don't know what I can say.
Just being here, Kathy, like that makes a huge difference. And I'm gonna build off of what you said, Kathy. Don't feel guilty, because guess what? When they did this study, they said 67% of people have been exposed to ACEs in our country. That means if I'm doing the math right, 33% of us didn't, right? So somebody is getting it right out there, right? So I'm hanging my head on that, the fact that there are people out there getting it right. And obviously, you know, it starts with the family's awareness and understanding of what they want their children to be. You cannot be what you cannot see. Right. And for us, what we saw on TV was what we became when I grew up. And ours was like a lot of gang movies. I mean, it was horrible, right? And that's exactly what the community that I grew up became. It was what they put on the TVs for us to see ourselves as drug dealers, as you know, street workers. That was how the people who looked like me were portrayed in the 80s when I was growing up. So thank you for sharing that, Kathy. I know it's a vulnerable place to be, but it means a lot for you to feel like you can still be in this conversation, even if it's not your experience. So thank you. All right, y'all did it. The main message of that movie, in my opinion, was what John Bowlby said a long time ago. If a community really values their children, it'll take care of the parents. And that's another way to say it. I think I showed a different one earlier. So like people been saying this, right? And now we get a chance as civilians, as researchers, as parents, and all those different roles that we take on in different parts of our day to actually do something about it, to channel that energy in a way that is helpful for not just ourselves, but for the next generation. Which leads me to the book that just came out today. If you really want to understand how historically we got here, I broke it down. I left no stone unturned, right? Because once it made sense to me, I was going to try to simplify for everybody else. It is a mirror of our country. America the Beautiful, 1776, started because she divorced Great Britain. That was a bloody divorce. So our country in itself was found on adverse childhood experiences. That divorce. You know what I mean? So if you guys are interested, the book is available. Obviously, it's not perfect, but it's a way to really help people understand whether they are with or without ACEs, how we got here as a country, and most importantly, what we can do. I don't spend a whole bunch of time there, but I made sure that should Fahrenheit 54 come life, for anybody that's seen that movie, is it Fahrenheit 54 where they burn all the books because they don't want people to like have knowledge? I don't know if y'all have ever seen that movie, but there's a movie where in the future they go and burn all the books because people are starting to wake up. So get your book before it gets burned, before we get into a country like that. So hopefully that's not a real movie, but there is a movie that depicts that. So let's talk. Anybody want to share anything in relationship to what you took away? Antidote. It can be anything that you want. We have about 6 minutes according to my clock. Don't feel obligated, but if there's anything burning that you'd like to have the rest of the group here before we go, this is your time.
Hi, I'd
Hey,
like to
oh,
say,
oh,
hi, this is Dawn. I'd like to say that it is important to understand that ACEs are by design. ACEs are not they're not experiences that people have without it being engineered. So part of understanding why it's important to heal is also to understand just blaming ourselves and blaming our parents. Yes, it's not that you don't hold people accountable and responsible, but it's also our responsibility to change and heal within ourselves. So
Absolutely.
that's what I wanted to say.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dawn.
I was just going to echo that. I took a child development class in my undergrad, and I remember one of my professors saying, like, no parent, very few, no parent goes in wanting to harm their children. Most parents are doing this because they think it is the right way to raise their children because this is what they experienced. You don't just throw somebody in a body of water and expect them to learn how to swim. People should not just be expected to know how to parent. It's not innate,
Intuitive, like she
but
said.
we are. And it's not fair to expect people to know how to do this just one day you wake up and do it. So, Dawn, to your point, like holding people accountable, but also, like, if you don't know how to do it, you don't know how to do it. We have to have the resources there to support the parents to stop this. You hit it right on the head. You have to have some sort of receptivity to learning and growing and changing, but we can't just expect people to one day wake up and know how to do all this perfectly. So I think creating the resources and the education is key to all of this.
Just one last thing to say. Having these experiences creates money because then jails are filled up, then foster homes are filled up, and it's about money. So I just, that's an important point I don't want to omit.
And I'm
Dawn,
going
have
to
you been
double
listening
down
into me and Cindy's conversations? Because we talk about that all the time.
all the time. And I do want to say to my A, B, and C people, ACEs are an explanation, not an excuse. It's an explanation. It's not an excuse.
Yeah, just going back to what you were saying, you know, are you familiar with Michelle Alexander, the new Jim Crow? And Punishing the Poor, Loic Bacon, you know, talking about prisons and, you know, the disproportionate amount of blacks and Hispanics in American prisons. It's happening in London and in England now too, you know. If you're black, if you're Sikh or Muslim, or, you know, if your skin color is different, you're going to jail, probably. But yeah, they Michelle Alexander and Loic Bacon write very, very well about this.
Publish books, YouTube, podcast, talk, just do whatever we can to continue to reach as many people as we possibly can. 1 or 1 million. The best thing we can do is use our experiences. You don't have to get all deep with what happened in your story, but just making sure we leave a place better than we found it. And that's the end goal, right? So if y'all want to get involved, we love volunteers. We love inviting people to come to these movies. We have events to bring people with ACEs together. We always need volunteers. Of course, we need funding to keep us going, but we're doing this with less than $50,000 a year. Over 50,000 followers in 6 years on a budget of less than $50,000 a year. What excuse we got? Imagine if I had the type of money Mackenzie Bezos had, how many people we could reach. It's no excuse, right? Because I don't have that money don't mean I can't do something about it. And so I think this is our calling, especially the 6 out of every 10 people who have ACEs, right? The best thing we can do is listen if we don't understand it, and then look for ways to get involved, whether it's volunteering your time, telling somebody else about it that may have pockets that can help grassroots organizations like myself or anybody else here to make sure that we're not struggling to try to keep this from happening. And Dawn, you're right. It is a very profitable business. If you follow the founder of ACEs, the doctor who originally found this study, there is a video somewhere deep on YouTube back in his first days where he said, and I'm paraphrasing, when he first came out with the research, nobody wanted to hear it, right? He said, a world without ACEs would be an unprofitable place to be. It makes a lot of money from the sick. It makes a lot of money from those that carry crime. I mean, it is a very profitable business. Why would they want to fix it? Why would they want to fix it? Why don't we put it in movies, dramatize it, make it really loud and exciting, and sell their trauma back to them for $29.99 a person and a popcorn and a Coke? Been working like that for several years, several decades. So get involved. And if you want a certificate to like post or share with people or just as your own remembrance, if you take this survey, we'll draft up a really cute certificate for you, and you can put that in your whatever, your LinkedIn record, whatever you want to do with it, but just showing people that it's never too late to do something about it. Christian is an example. Cindy is an example. Jose is an example. The other Cindy's an example. We're examples. It's never too late because we have divine roots and they will heal, but not without going through awareness first.
That's good.
That's real good.
If I could share something. I know Cindy, you wanted to share something, please.
Go, no, I want you, Jose. Go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna let Cindy. I'm gonna be a gentleman. Unless she's been
Oh, Cindy B. Oh, the other. Yeah, I was out. This is really working 21 years in Third Circuit Court in Detroit, Michigan, in the hood. It's like the court is in downtown Detroit. If they had something like this for all those young people that they would run through there and charge them as adults, this would be amazing. Because I was sitting watching it and was sort of sad because I scored a 10. Okay. I scored a 10, but things were so normal for me. I don't even feel you know what I'm saying? I can't even explain it. It's just like,
feel the 10. You don't feel the 10. You don't feel the 10.
I don't feel the 10. You know, I was a teenage parent. I had my first child in high school, did all the stuff. I was a straight 10. It wasn't even a 9.5. It was just a straight up 10. But yet I understand now. Like I said it at the conference, 2 weeks ago, I'm glad I don't look like what I have been through. And I'm glad I'm not living like what I've been through. But just to know this is going to be something. And being a counselor, and my main goal is making the family unit stronger. So I deal with the husband and the wife, and I've been doing a lot of premarital like counseling. This would take it through the roof if people could really be aware of why they respond the way they respond or react the way they react and things like that. So this is very informative, and I appreciate you so much, Cindy. I do want to get a little deeper.
Awesome. Excellent.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. This is saying that I like to say that healing does not take time; it takes awareness. So this was a big confirmation for me. I come from both aspects of it. I had aces. Obviously, I was a 7 in the test, but I was able to just identify, man, within the years. I'm 43 now, so just experiencing 26 years of going wild, because of my aces, to then, finding Christ in my life, and then learning the love of God and all this stuff, but then still having an incident within the church where I get kicked out of the church. And now understanding because of aces, because of these childhood traumas that other people have that causes them not to be emotionally stable or intellectually or as an individual or socially, all the areas that it affects. And then studying and getting to learn holistic emotional intelligence, and now diving into nervous system and how, it's like we can't help it. Before we even think about it, we're reacting already because it's already inside of us. So just learning all that and preparing what I'm preparing and the classes and the guides and even the book that I'm working on now, and seeing this is like, wow, this is crazy. Like,
it's a sign. That's a sign, baby.
Yeah, literally. So I'm excited. Definitely want to get more involved. So yeah, I'll be around. I'm definitely trying to get involved in this space. I even do music. I just did a documentary recently, like a 9-minute thing called A Favor, and it's about self-love. I mean, so everything that we've been doing is catered to the, even my music is conscious music. It's stuff that'll make you think, to move towards your, who you truly meant to be. So to see organizations like this at this level doing it for so many years, kind of on the low, not on the low, but like you say, nobody wants to not receive it because they do want it, but they don't know that it's out there. So, we have to be the advocates of it. It's a point of, hey, look, man, this been out. This is a study. Hey, this is the numbers. Like, it's not something that I'm saying. There's a track record behind this. So that's the exciting part about it. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Jose. I do share with people, especially from our culture, because they are quick to say these are generational curses. BS. That is BS. That is a belief system that needs to be flushed. I know I say BS, I mean belief system. So when I hear that, I tell people it's not generational curses. That is generational science, baby. Like that is our body programming for the output that was installed in it, just like a computer. And if you install that app in there and the app has the code written in it to perform a certain way when you push a certain button, it's going to do just that. Same like the humans. If it was taught that way and you push that button, even if it's 30 years removed, that program is going to activate that response that was taught in the first 7 years of life. It's not right. It's not rocket science. It's biology, I guess. But anyhow, great conversations, you guys. We do this again on the first Tuesday of every month. Bring somebody back with you. Follow our work, try to come to events. I know I'd like to be able to do more things virtually, but we're not there yet. But this is the one thing that we can do virtually to bring people together across the country. And there's always connections that happen as a result of it. So you guys, please feel free to connect with each other offline if you'd like. But I definitely appreciate you guys being here. And if there's any closing thoughts, feel free to share. If not, I don't want to be the only thing standing between you and your bedtime. Christian, what time is it where you are?
What came to mind for me was preparing a podcast, and all you guys should be part of the podcast so we could talk about this and then repurpose content on the socials. That's what showed up for me. Is that, man, how can I get everybody in the podcast and then we talk about this stuff, talk about what you've been through, obviously talk about Ace.
Come on.
So, repurpose content, collaborate on socials.
Come on.
Anyways,
you got London in the house. You got New York in the house. Come on. Come on. We got this. Come on. You got North Carolina in the house.
Cindy, we'll connect and then hopefully we'll get anybody's contact and this is a conversation one at a time. But awesome. And y'all repurpose content that.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all drop your Facebook's link in wherever you want people to be able to follow you. Go ahead and drop it in because it's going to we're going to close out in a few minutes, but please feel free to connect on your own outside of this. I highly encourage that. Christian, looks like you had something. And then Kathy, maybe did you have one more thing and we can go after that?
I just have a real quick question. So I know you have multiple dates when you send us that initial email. Is this open to people who have any sort of childhood experience of this sort, or I mean, what is the audience that you're inviting to these calls?
Besides the comedians, I did ask the comedians to come.
Well, the comedians, yes,
educate themselves. But this is
when I listen to this, I mean, I feel horrible that I didn't have, like this kind of experience so that I could understand better. But on the other hand, I have people who I'm very close to that I know they went through this, and no amount of talking was, because I didn't have this kind of experience, no amount of talking ever made me feel like I really could help them. And I just don't know if you're trying to invite people to see this, or this is currently you're just screening and this is like the early beta audience, and then eventually when you're ready, that's when you want bigger audience, or what are you trying to do with these?
I like the intimate of it because we can do what we're doing now. The larger it gets, the less intimate it gets. So like I said, we don't advertise it. I mean, we'll post it. People show up great. Yeah. I do recommend it's open to anybody that registers. However, my asterisk is it's better suited for somebody who's already seeing a therapist or a counselor or got some kind of help, just because it can be shocking.
Some
right?
of them have been through
Right.
years and years and years of it. Yeah.
This is it. Then this would be it. This is definitely a place to start. And I say that because there are so many counselors out there on this date that have never heard of this study because it just wasn't a part of their curriculum when they graduated. So this is our due diligence to try to educate, whether you're a social worker, therapist, counselor, lived experience person, know the term, because then you start to forgive yourself for things that you were blaming were your fault, especially if it's sexual abuse and whatever that is, right? It helps people. And I'm a 15 out of 15 ACEs. When I took the first ACE test, I was 10 out of 10. When I got my hands on the extended study, because I grew up in poverty, I went from being a 10 out of 10 to a 15 out of 15. So yes, Kathy, it's open to whoever. I like it intimate because we can do this, but definitely encourage your friends just by asking them, hey, have you ever heard about the ACEs study? That's usually what people will do. And most times people are going to say no. You should ask your counselor about it. And if their therapist doesn't know anything about it, there are several online websites, including my homepage, that allow you to go and like take the inventory assessment. The conversation starts with that number. And they honestly, they don't, you may have heard Dr. Harris, Nadine Harris, say that it's not about which ones, but how many, because how many is going to determine just how deep your struggle is as an adult.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay.
Thank you, Kathy. Great question. Please send them my way. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. I'm a lived experience person, but I got a ton of referrals since doing this work, but definitely starting the conversation with whoever they are seeing from a medical or counseling perspective. And then Tabitha, if you had anything else you want to add for Kathy, feel free to share.
Yeah, I
Or
just put
Dawn.
in the
Okay.
Sorry, I just put in the chat, like Kathy, you're spot on. You don't have to be a lived experience person, but I guarantee that if you are not, you know someone who is. You work with someone who is. You have a neighbor who is. You're mentoring someone who is. So I think, and Cindy B, you were talking about this too, about like you thought that was normal, and I think that's the groundwork we have to do. We have to stop normalizing that these are not okay things that happen to children. So even if you are not experiencing them, you becoming aware of adverse childhood experiences, understanding the research behind it, understanding the antidotes, can help us create that foundational awareness that we need as a society to recognize and move forward.
Post-traumatic growth. That's where we're heading for. Post-traumatic growth is possible. I love these smiling faces of awareness. I love tears of awareness. Just warms my heart. So
Okay,
thank
guys,
you.
yeah. It's 1 a.m. here, so that's why I keep yawning. And I've been up since like really early, done a day's work shift at work.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you really so much. And feel free to have a look at feel free, especially to check out my Cambridge University talk, because I talk about a lot of the stuff that's been covered here in that talk. The Q&A is really interesting as well. And as Alfred Adler said, we just got to be better than we were yesterday.
Excelente. You guys have a blessed evening and stay warm wherever you are. Have a good night.
Ciao, guys.
Night. Thanks,
Guys,
everyone.
take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.